Thank you, Chairperson and judges and audiences. My name is Yuta, and I'm Affirmative Constructive Speaker. I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and judges and audience. My name is Mashu, and I am the attack speaker from the affirmative side. I'll do my best.
Thank you, Chairperson and judges. My name is Escape. I'm defense speaker from affirmative side. I will do my best. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Masa, and I'll be the summary speaker for the affirmative side. I've never been this nervous in my life, but I like to do my best. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have brief introductions from the negative side members.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Wakaba. I'm a constructive speaker from negative side. I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Mick. I'm attack speaker from negative side. I'm very, very nervous, but I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Yui. I'm the defense speaker from the negative side, and I'll enjoy today's debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and judges. My name is Sama Suzuki. I'm summary speaker from negative side. I'll do my best. Thank you.
Before the round starts, team leaders, please come to the front and shake hands. We will now begin this round with the affirmative constructive speech for 4 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson and judges. My name is Yuta. We believe that the Japanese government should adopt a social security system that provides a basic income to all Japanese citizens. Plan. We will provide 140,000 yen for adults and 50,000 yen for a child by introducing, first, progressive income tax only on people whose annual income is over 3 million yen and raise the rate to 28%. Second, flat 50% inheritance tax. Third, raise 5% consumption tax. 81, save poor people, save poor people. Present situation. Current welfare system is not working. According to the Ministry of Labor, 68% of the poor people qualified for welfare benefit cannot receive welfare. The reasons are, first, very strict check. According to Kaikai Sign in 2004, 84% applicants couldn't get even application forms in Kitakyushu City. To cut illegal recipients and reverse the cost, revised life protection law is focusing on reducing recipients. Second, many people are afraid of stigmatization. Just like Satsuki Katayama, many Japanese still regard getting welfare as shame, and their children are sometimes bullied, according to Tokyo. The life without benefit is harsh. According to Akata, 56 people died because they didn't have money to go to the hospital. And according to National Police Agency, in 1 year, over 4,000 people committed suicide because of poverty, and 45 students are starving to death, according to the Ministry of Labor. Fact. After plan, the 68% qualified people will be able to get 140,000 yen. 140,000 yen is larger amount of money than current first resident welfare benefit today. This will drastically improve their life and save many people. Importance. In 2014, a mother in Chiba killed her daughter and tried to suicide. She could not receive welfare and could not live anymore. Many single mothers had no choice but to enter sex industry. For many people, welfare benefit is the last resort to live. The social security system exists to help the weakest people in the society. Therefore, we have to introduce basic income. 82, safety net for future unemployment. Safety net for future unemployment. Present situation. Now, technology such as machines, automation, robotics, AI is replacing human jobs. According to Dan Milklovic, in the past 10 years, automation replaced 16% manufacturing worker in Japan. Also, in one electronics company, Foxconn, machines replaced 60,000 workers, according to BBC. World Economic Forum this year said, quote, in 5 years, technology will replace 7 million jobs in 15 richest countries. 2 million new jobs will be created, but in total, 5 million jobs will disappear, unquote. This is called fourth industrial revolution and quite different from the past because automation cannot create enough new jobs and more people will lose jobs. In Japan, the Ministry of Economy and Trade and Industry says, quote, 7.3 million workers will be unemployed in 2030, unquote. This unemployment will accelerate in the future when AI exceeds human brain. Professor Osborne also predicts, quote, 49% of labor population will be replaced by AI in 10 to 20 years. And however, President welfare's benefit cannot cover a huge number of unemployment. In addition, unemployment benefit is given only for 330 days. Fact. Basic income guarantees minimum standard of living, so basic income can be a safety net for every single student. Stimit says, because of automation, all the profit goes to the top 1% executives. The money for basic income comes from the tax on such rich people. Importance. In 2007, 1,071 people committed suicide, 70% increase because of the unemployment caused by Lehman shock. Unemployment can happen to anyone, anytime. We need a sustainable solution to protect every student, and basic income is the only way. That's why Finland is considering basic income to reform the welfare system, according to BBC. The future massive unemployment is coming as soon as 5 years, so we need to change the welfare system now, so we are firm. Thank you.
Preparation time has ended. We will now have questions from the negative side for 2 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
I'm ready. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Suzuki. Thank you, Speaker. I would like to have questions. First, on 81, so how much is the minimum cost of living?
Or 130,000 yen by cash, and we consider other exemption. And we can cover 100 by the 140,000 yen.
Right, okay,
I have evidence.
Okay, so please tell me later about it.
Okay.
And so in 81, so you said that parents killed their daughter, right?
Please again.
Parents killed daughter.
That is the one. Yeah.
So it is because cannot receiving public assistance.
Yes.
So okay, so the please tell me the evidence
Okay.
about it. And also on 82, so what was the present introduction rate?
Please again.
What was the present introduction rate?
Production rate.
What is the robots the present introduction rate?
Or I don't know, but surely, according to Ministry of Industry, 7.3 million workers will be unemployed in 2030 in Japan. Yeah, I have evidence.
Okay, and our company have enough money to introduce robots.
Yes, I have evidence that also government will subsidize. I have evidence.
Okay, so. So only in industry robot can work, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So how many unemployment workers are there in Japan? How many unemployment workers are there in Japan?
In Japan, now in Japan, 16% manufacturing workers in Japan are from now happened.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, speakers. Thank you, speakers. Question time has ended. We will now hear the negative constructive speech for 4 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Wakaba. TA1, burden to single mother families will increase. Burden to single mother families will increase. Present situation. According to Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication in 2010, there were 760,000 single mother households in Japan. Also, according to Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare, they have 1.6 1.6 children on average, unquote. So there are 1.2 million children in total in those households. In fact, their life is supported by the government. According to Ministry of Health, quote, 15% of the single mother, which means 114,000 people don't have a job because of illness, child care, and so on, unquote. So single mother use the public assistance system to receive 260,000 yen of supporting money every month. What more, they can receive 40,000 yen of tax exemptions. So the present system is very efficient. If we take this plan, since there are 1.6 children in single mother household, each house will receive 220,000 yen of basic income per month. According to Ministry of Health Code, about 60% of the welfare recipients live in city areas whose minimum living cost is 230,000 yen in case of a mother and 1.6 children, unquote. After the plan, most of them cannot afford this. Moreover, they will lose 40,000 of their exemptions. According to Mamaria, that news site that provides useful information for mother, quote, this exemption exceeds almost 1.3 times of their average food cost, unquote. Their life will be much more severe. Importance, this is serious. Not only will the mother live a harsh life, but their children's future can be damaged too. According to Professor Michinaka Ryu of Kansai International University, quote, poverty of parents tend to be passed down to their children, unquote. It's strange that children's future is decided by their parents' situation, not by their own effort. DA2, the elderly will suffer more. Present situation. Now, Japan is facing serious lack of care workers. According to Ministry of Health as of 2014, 42% of visiting care workers and 23% of regular workers are working. Because of this, the elderly are suffering. According to Ministry of Health as of 2013, out of the people who care them, about 61% is their families and only 15% they are care workers. In fact, about 70% of family members who care them is also over the age of 60. This means now the elderly taking care of the elderly, which is now a social problem. In fact, this can even lead to murder cases. According to Tokyo newspaper, more than 400 murder cases occurred because of the exhaustion by caring elderly in the past 10 years. So even the present situation is serious. Effect. After the plan, 1 million care workers are likely to quit because 60% of them wish to quit even now they can get income by this plan. According to National Confederation of Trade Unions, 40% care workers feel the job is too busy, 30% are suffering from exhaustion. In fact, according to Ministry of Health in 2012, care workers' job quitting rate is 17%. In addition, nearly 40% of them quit in less than 3 years. If they receive basic income and have a safety net, the situation will surely be accelerated. Importance. This is urgent because the elderly who need care is increasing now. According to Ministry of Health as of 2015, 600,000 elderly live alone and the number is constantly increasing. In fact, according to Yomiuri newspaper, by 2025, 430,000 elderly will suffer from not receiving care. The elderly will actually suffer from by basic income, so we should not take this plan and decrease care workers. DA1, burden to single mother families will increase. DA2, the elderly will suffer more. Thank you.
We will now have questions from the affirmative side for 2 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Masa. To your DA1. So how many of the single mothers right now are receiving welfare?
Receiving welfare, about 114,000 people.
114,000?
14,000.
And are they all receiving welfare, or are they just qualified for it?
98% of jobless single mother who get 260,000 yen of supporting money and 40,000 yen of tax exemptions.
Okay, please show us that evidence there. And how much money do the single mothers need? Not receive, but how much money do they need?
230,000 yen.
And that is the living cost?
In the minimum living cost.
Okay, thank you. And We couldn't understand how serious this situation is going to be for those single mothers. Can you explain how serious this 10,000 yen decrease is going to be?
One more time, please.
Can you explain how serious the 10,000 decrease is going to be? 10,000 lakh.
Because now they can receive 260,000 yen and 40,000 yen tax exemption. So
Yeah, how serious is the never mind. Let's go on to the next question. If you have evidence, please show us to it later.
Okay.
To your DA2. So what do you want to achieve by your DA2?
Sorry, one more, please.
What do you want to achieve by DA2?
The elderly will suffer more.
What do you want to achieve? That's what's going to be cost. What do you want to achieve by DA2?
Why do you ask me? What do you want to say? Sorry.
Question time has ended. Preparation time has ended. We will now hear the negative attack speech for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Meek. First, 81. They said poor people will be saved by basic income, but as our constructive speaker said, single mother's minimum cost of living is 230,000 yen. And in addition, according to Professor Shigekawa Junko in Saitama University and Professor Yamada Atsuhiro in Keio University, if they live alone, their minimum cost of living is 190,000 yen per month. So basic income is not enough to live. And after plan, so we cannot help poor people by basic income, so their point does not stand. Second, they said after plan, suicide will decrease, but actually the number of suicide from economic reason is decreasing now. According to Ministry of Health, the number of decreased to half from its peak in 2009, so present situation has no problem. And third, they said there is a stigma in receiving public assistance. However, they do not have any exact cases of recipients actually give up receiving because of stigma. And in addition, even if there is stigma, there are many supporting money, such as child care allowance, so present situation is no problem and enough effective, so we should take this plan. We should not take this plan. Fourth, they said 68% of PUP could not get public assistance. However, in their evidence, the research in 1999, it's too old. The present situation is not serious, so their point doesn't stand. And 82. I have against both of FD. Their plan is unrealistic because even if there is tax, it's extremely hard to keep enough tax revenue because taxpayer is decreasing. And they said 49% of labor will take place in robots. However, if they will be fired, they can get another job, so they will not suffer. So their point does not stand. And next, if they will be fired, they can get support from their family, so they will not suffer. So their point does not stand. And they could not prove a company have enough money to introduce robot, and so they evidence don't say the money is not enough. So company cannot cannot introduce robots, so workers will not be fired and they will not suffer. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have questions from the affirmative side for 2 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Skip. First, you have 4 attacks on AD1 and 3 attacks on AD2 and 1 attack to our plan, right?
Yes.
Okay. As for the AD1, your first attack point, you said single mother will be suffered, and as for the single people, they need 190,000 yen to live, right?
Sorry, one more time, please.
You said the average cost for living is 190,000 yen, right?
Yes.
Okay, pretty sure savings. And second attack point, you said the number of suicide is decreasing, so it's no problem, right?
Yes.
But how can you say that it will continue to decrease and the suicide will disappear?
One more time, please.
So how can you say that the number of suicide will continue to decrease? I think that since there are many people who commit suicide, we should take this plan because we can save these people.
There is a tendency, so number of suicide will decrease.
Okay, and in your third attack point, you said stigmatization. We don't have evidence about stigmatization, so our argument is not standing,
yes,
right?
And
okay.
Even if there is a stigma and there are any supporting money, for example, child care allowance, so it's
Thank
no
you.
problem.
And in your fourth attack point, you said our evidence about capture rate is too old, right?
Yes, so no problem.
Thank you.
No.
And as for the AD2, in your first attack point, you said so if the people lose job, they can get another job, right?
Yes.
Okay. And second attack point, you said if the people lose jobs, they can be supported by their family, right? But
yes.
I think if the road rent or the road ready lose their job, they cannot receive money from family.
Sorry,
because this family is completely depending on road rent or road ready to earn money. Sorry. And third attack point, you said it is unclear whether a company can utilize automation or AI or not, right?
Yes,
okay.
Because their evidence did not prove company has enough money to
Thank
introduce.
you.
Question time has ended. We will now hear the affirmative attack speech for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Mashu. I'll take their point. First is about the DA1. 1. No probability about damage for the single parents' families. In the first place, according to the Ministry of Affairs, the average expenditure of single parents with 2 children is about 200,000 yen. But according to our plan, those kind of families can get more than 240,000 yen. So the basic income can completely cover the expenditure of single parents' families. And they talked about like some exemptions, but actually the average life of the single parents' family can be at least guaranteed. So we can say that anyway, the basic income can guarantee the life. Second, we should do basic income. Calculated from the data of Ministry of Health, only 5.8% of poor single parents can receive welfare benefit. And they said that 98% of single parents' family can get welfare, but they are completely regarding the jobless single parents as same as the qualified single parents' families. But that is completely different characters. So their calculation is not proper, and we can say that the current system is not working. So rather, to save them, we should do basic income. Third, no probability about the burden for single parents' families. They're considering only about the basic income, but if we consider other supports, there are no problem. According to the National Tax Agency and other organizations and websites, total amount of additional support for single parents' families are 94,000 yen. 94,000 yen in total. And if this one will remain even after plan, that means that the total number of support they can get, including basic income, is 284,000 yen in the case of single parents with 2 children. So there are completely no problem. And the fourth, no impact about the argument. According to G.com, Prime Minister Abe decided to introduce a new scholarship system for poor people for university in 2017, which doesn't need repayment. And the budget is already prepared. They talked about the chain of poverty, but as for such kind of problem, because those kind of situation will be improved, we don't have to worry about that. So moving on to the DA2. 1. No probability about the elderly suffering. Basic income will never cause shortage. According to the survey done by Kangokuji Nabi, most of care workers answer that the reason they work is contribute to society or to make use of their skills. And no one answered that the reason is earning money. And I checked the evidence, but their evidence is just talking about like 7% of care workers want to quit their jobs, and more than 50% of care workers may want to quit their jobs sometimes. So their evidence is not proper, and we should do basic income. Second, no impact about care worker shortage. Care robots can cover that shortage. According to a Saitama newspaper, care robots can do simple work instead of humans, such as watching the elderly or helping the elderly walking or toilet. And actually, according to Kanagawa media documents, 80% of care workers say that their burden decreased because of care robots. So we can say that those kind of care robots can be the help of care worker shortage, and there was no impact. And third, let's further about their argument. According to the Ministry of Health, 10 years ago, there are 300,000 of care workers, but recently, there are 1 million of care workers. That means that care workers is really easy to increase. That means the number of care workers has high potential. So the shortage of care workers has less value because the care workers is increasing and can easily increase.
We will now have questions from the negative side for 2 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Yui. And you have 4 attack on DA1 and 3 attack on DA2, right?
Yes.
And in your third attack, so you said something about 94,000 yen, but could you explain this more?
So, for example, additional medical support or additional housing support or support for water charge and resident tax or various kind of, there are various kind of support for the single parents families. So if we calculate all of those kind of, these costs, these support, 94,000 yen will remain even after plan. So if we consider the together with basic income, that is completely enough for them.
So you talked about housing expenses, right? Well, will that remain after taking this plan?
No, not about housing assistance, but so if necessary, I will show you the calculation later.
Oh, okay, thank you. And in your sixth attack, so you talked about care workers, why they started working there, why they choose this job.
Pardon me?
So could you repeat your sixth attack again?
Sixth attack.
The first attack on DA2.
Second attack?
First attack.
First attack. The reason care workers are working is like contributing for the society or they make improving their skills. And actually 57% of people answered that they want to contribute for the society, but no one answered that the reason is earning money. And your evidence is...
Okay, thank you about that. And please repeat the next attack too. The second attack on DA2.
So care robots can cover the shortage because...
Okay, so you talked about care robots, right?
Yes.
But what's the introduction rate right now?
Introduction rate?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, as we said in our 82, those kind of robots is actually surely increasing. Even though some robots are increasing.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And about your eighth attack, your last attack,
yes.
So you said that the number of care workers are easy to increase and decrease, right?
Yes.
So do you admit that the care worker is an unstable job?
No.
No?
Yes.
So care workers are, the labor force of a care worker is really unstable, right?
No, it is easy for people to get the qualification of care workers.
Okay, thank you.
Question time has ended. Preparation time has ended. We will now hear the affirmative defense speech for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Eisuke. First, about attack for plan. They said that taxpayer will decrease, so tax revenue will also decrease. But in the first place, by the definition, attack for the plan is prohibited, so you should not take this point. And moreover, the decreasing of population means that decreasing cost of income, so it is not problem. As for the 81, in the first attack point, they said the single mother family cannot live after taking this plan, but this attack completely depending upon their DA1. But as our attack speaker said, their DA1 cannot stand. And also they said living expenditure is 190,000 yen. But actually, as we have said, according to the Ministry of Health, the current cost of social welfare is 140,000 yen. And actually, welfare recipients can live with cost. So we can say that 140,000 yen is enough. And this evidence is from the governmental office, so it is more reliable. And second attack point, they said the number of suicide is decreasing. But at this point, they never proved whether this situation continue or not, or whether suicide will disappear. And if we assume that suicide is decreasing, even now 4,000 people commit to suicide. Still, it is huge number, so we should take this plan. And as for the 81, our impact is not only suicide, but also starvation, or the people who cannot go to the hospital, or in the first place, 68% of people cannot receive any welfare. So our impact is clearly standing. And third attack point, they say stigmatization is not a problem. But according to the Japan Lawyer Union, the most of the reason of current law capture rate is due to stigmatization and difficulty of application due to public service reluctance. Japanese lawyer institution is the institution which continues studying our welfare system, so our evidence is reliable. And also they said child allowance can cover the cost for living, but they never ever explain us why it is enough or how many people can get these support. And in the first place, as we have said, because current system is not enough, actually many people die. So this attack cannot stand. And as for the 81, in the first attack point, they said even if people lose job, they can get another job. But in the first place, as our constructive speaker said in the 82, even now the technology is replacing the job. And also in the future, we can estimate that this automation system or a lot of AI will replace the job. According to the Tsuruaki Yukawa, who is a journalist of information technology, AI is different from other technology because it can exceed the human ability. So AI will immediately replace new jobs which will be created in the future. So the people will surely lose job and they cannot get another job. And second attack point, they said the people can get support from their family. But in the first place, families' income is completely depending on workers. But as we have said in the 82, workers will lose their job. So in the first place, they can never ever get the support from their families. And third attack point, they said it is very unclear whether the company has enough cost for technology or not. But as we have said, even now this technology is replacing job. And moreover, according to Rethink Robotics, currently AI is expensive, but we can make it dramatically cheap in the future. So we can estimate that in the future, that this technology will replace huge amount of jobs. And as we have said, current system can never ever support these people because it is limited for only 330 days. So we should take this plan and we should change the welfare system. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear the negative defense speech for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Yui. In the first talk, they talked about the minimum living cost will be afforded by basic income. However, their calculation is only by single mothers who have 2 children, and we actually calculated it again, and the average number of children they have is 1.6. In this calculation, by basic income, they can only receive 205,000 yen of basic income, and the minimum cost of living is 230,000 yen. So by basic income, single mothers will not be able to afford the minimum living cost. And second, they said about so the people who receive is the 98% is not correct. However, I'll explain again. So according to Ministry of Health, there is 15% of single mothers who have no job, and 14.4% of single mothers receive public assistance right now, which is 98%. And it's more natural to think non-employed people receive public assistance than to think people who work also receive it too. So we can surely say 98% of single mothers who don't work receive public assistance. And third, they said there is 94,000 yen of exemption which will not be abolished after taking this plan. However, we checked their evidence and it does not say that all single mothers receive these kinds of expenses. And as we said in our constructive speech, it is clear that there are 40,000 yen of exemption and other housing allowances that will be abolished after taking this plan. So the 94,000 yen will not remain and single mothers will not be able to make their living. And the fourth, they said that Ms. Shinzo Abe will introduce a new scholarship. However, this means that the present situation will going to be okay, so we don't need to take basic income to take risks, additional risk to support these single mother families. That's why we should keep this situation. And I'll be moving on to DA2. In their first attack, they talked about the reason why care workers are working right now. However, according to Care Work Foundation, it is true that 52% of care workers choose the job because they thought it was a meaningful job and it was a good job. However, after they started working, most of these thoughts can change because according to National Confederation of Trade Unions, first of all, almost 60% wishes to quit the job, and 23% of the reason was because they felt it actually wasn't a meaningful, accomplishing job, and moreover, 40% felt too busy, 30% suffer from exhaustion. So many people can end up quitting a job besides their first impression and the impression while they're working. And 7, they talked about robots. However, but it cannot replace care worker job. According to Kanagawa Welfare Service Promotion Group, people expect hospitality more than efficiency, so robots are not welcomed, and care workers don't have the literacy to use such complex robots. And as we saw in their evidence, the company don't have enough money to introduce robots, so care robots will not be introduced. And eighth, they talked about the unstableness. It's easy to get the qualification to be a care worker. However, according to Care Work Foundation, nearly 41% of care workers who have qualification to work as care workers decide not to work as a care worker. So the easiness of getting a qualification doesn't mean that it's easy to capture more labor force of a care worker. That's why we should not take this plan. Thank you.
Preparation time has ended. We will now hear the affirmative summary speech for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Sorry. Okay. So, thank you, Chair. Sorry. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Masa. First of all, I'd like to refer to the 82, talking about the care workers and why it's not actually, I would like to first of all talk about their DA2 and why it's not actually standing. Yes. And next, I'd like to talk about our 82, about the artificial intelligence and how the safety net should act for the future. And last of all, I'd like to talk about which can save more people in the future. So, first about their DA2. So the DA2 is saying a lot of care workers are going to quit and how these people are going to actually be, suffer. But first of all, we have told you that the care workers are actually going to, care robots are actually going to be introduced. And 80% of the people actually answered that the burden has lifted and the care robots are going to do easy work, not actually do those hard work that need to be done by those care workers and are going to be done face-to-face with those care workers. And that's what we have told you in our attack speech, which means they said that they need hospitality, but that doesn't really matter for these care robots. And these care robots can be introduced, so their entire DA2 doesn't actually stand because the artificial intelligence, as we have said in our AD2 also, that can actually replace those people, and their probability of the impact happening is extremely low. Next, about our AD2, about safety net for the future unemployment. So they continuously ask us how much of it is being introduced right now. But however, we are asserting that now it doesn't really matter because we are talking about the future and how it is going to happen also. Actually, if they want the data right now, we have told you that actually 16% of the manufacturing workers have been unemployed because of the automation in the past 10 years, and 60,000 workers were replaced in Foxconn for a single piece of software. That is what is happening right now, and the government is estimating that 7.3 million jobs will be unemployed in the future inside of Japan. And also, we have also explained to you that these jobs are going to be hard to replace by humans again, and these jobs cannot be replaced by humans again, and more jobs will not be replaced. 5 million workers will be unemployed according to the World Economic Forum. That is a reality, and unemployment is going to be a serious problem because first of all, they're going to lose the lifeline to support their families, which means they cannot continuously live inside of their families. They have no money for life, they have no money for food, electricity, water, and all of those stuff. And actually, during the Lehman shock, 70% increase in the suicide was caused by this unemployment. Only the status quo only supports them for 330 days. We need a sustainable system that can save them for even in the future. Therefore, we need AD2 or basic income. Last of all, which can save the single mother, which can save the weakest people in this society. So they're talking about the single mothers, but we have told you that the insurance cost support for resident tax and medical assistance is going to account for 94,000 yen. And adding that up with the 205,000 yen that they calculated, that's 299,000 yen. This can totally cover the amount for the single mothers. So the impact is extremely, the probability is extremely low, and they never explain the seriousness of this. However, in our side, in our AD1, we have told you that the 68% are suffering because they have no one else to rely on other than the government, and they're suiciding because they have no other way to live. No welfare means no money to live for the food, shelter, or other stuff, and they are not actually being discouraged to work by the stigmatization or the regulations. That is why we are saying that we should introduce basic income. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear the final speech of this round, the negative summary speech for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Please say your name and start.
Sorry, just a moment, please. Okay, I'm ready. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Suzuki. I'd like to summarize this debate. First, I'd like to explain the weak points. On 81, they talk about poor people, but it's very weak because at first, present situation is very unclear. The evidence is too old, so they couldn't prove that how serious is the present situation. So why we need a basic income is very unclear. So we don't need to take this plan. And as our speaker says that our basic income is not enough to live, it is under the minimum cost of living. So even if we take this plan, impact is very low. So the 81 is very weak, and 82 are data about safety net for future unemployment, but it's very unclear because they say that after this plan, robots will cover our industry work, but it's very unclear because their evidence and they can prove that our company can surely produce the robots because their evidence just said government will provide some money for some company. So their evidence never shows that after this point, industry company will surely use the robot and many worker will be quitted. So it's very unclear. So their possibility is very low. So their plan doesn't stand. And on the other hand, our plans are strong. Let me explain. Read on the one we talk about single mother families. They say that single mother will not suffer. However, by basic income, it cannot fulfill 230,000 yen of minimum living cost, and the remaining exemption will not work to everyone. And now, single mothers depend on public assistance to live because they can receive about 260,000 yen of supporting money and 40,000 yen of tax exemption. But basic income is provided less than the present situation. So if we take this point, our single mother will have to live in a harsh life suddenly, and it is very serious for us because poverty parents tend to be passed on to their children. It's strange that children's future are decided by their parents' situation, not by their efforts, and children cannot get enough. So children will be poor. That means Japan will be weak. So it's our problem. So we should not take this plan. And on DA2, we talk about the elderly, and this situation is very serious because even now, family cares of the elderly living alone, and family cares of their family is very serious problem, and elderly living alone, those who get care from work lose care. In addition, it leads to elderly killing elderly, which leads to even minor cases. So this is concrete damage. So we should not take this plan. And as you know, Japan is aging now. So it is our problem, not only elderly people, because in the future we will be surely elderly people, and in that time, if we take this one, there are no care workers, so we cannot get our care. So it's very serious, and in conclusion, so the elderly don't need money; they need a care worker. So, and the money starts holding meanings when there is something we can spend on. There's no worker. Even if we get money, it's not efficient. So we should not take this one. Thank you.
Thank you. The debate is now over. You all did a great job.
Okay, so we're the last round, so I want to be very quick. But first, I want to say thank you to both teams for an excellent and entertaining debate round. So thank you both. And I also want to thank the audience for being here and for being a good audience and listening carefully. Now, a few short comments I want to say. So I want to say some things, some advice to both teams, and then some praise for both teams, for the audience, the things that you can practice in the future. Number one, I want to encourage both teams to think about the sort of bigger picture. And in this case, I mean a lot of the impact, a lot of the harms of the debate are about, we talk about the harm to each individual, so the harm that each individual feels, but we want to think about, as we're making policy, we want to think about the harm to society. So you want to think about how each individual harm hurts Japan or the world as a whole. You want to try to make those impacts a little bigger. And second, just a little bit, I want to encourage you to try to organize a little better when you're speaking. There are times when the debate kind of goes up or down, and so it's a little hard to follow where you are. But really good things. So what I want to encourage everybody here, this debate did a very good job of doing what I'd call second level argument. That is, we didn't get just one answer and then it's repeated and repeated. We got third level, we got our answer to an answer. So the debate continued through the defense speech. For example, the number of suicides, and then we're told the number of suicides is declining, and then we're told that that it may not continue, and that there were other harms as well. So the debate didn't stop after the first answer, it continued. So I think that's something good. Also, they did a fairly good job of doing what I call tagging. That is, they explained the argument before reading the evidence. And then, so usually we want to have a tag, explain the argument, then evidence, and then, if you can, explain why it's important, right? So we don't want to say, my first answer is, the Yomiuri Shimbun says, right? My first argument is no impact. Yomiuri Shimbun says, so that was a very good thing that I think both teams did in a very praiseworthy fashion. Now, I'm sorry, I'm talking a little quickly because I want to try to finish quickly. In this debate, I think this was a good and well-argued debate, but I think it ended up being a relatively clear debate. I want to say, again, thank you to both teams. I think all the judges were in agreement, so I want to explain very briefly. In part what happened, so advantage 1 and advantage 2 are much the same in this situation, which is that the negative is making what I would call press attacks. They're trying to reduce the probability or reduce the impact, but not make it 0. So they're smaller, but they are still remaining. Whereas in the case of DA1, the affirmative is actually trying to, what we say, take out the link. The affirmative is arguing that there is actually more money than is required, so there is no harm, or there's no impact to disadvantage 1. Technically, there's no link to disadvantage 1. And disadvantage 2, elderly, again, is a little unclear, but I think the idea of robots replacing workers, which is established in 82, when applied here, does a relatively good job of making that seem nice. So, yeah, now I have to finish. So I want to encourage everybody, this is a wonderful debate. It's a little sad future, I guess, because robots will be replacing all of us, but we will all have basic income, so that's okay. We'll have robot judges and robot debaters. So again, thank you to both teams. It was a wonderful debate. I enjoyed it immensely. I think all of the judges would agree. And this decision was a 5-0 decision for the affirmative.